Okay. Students, next chapter is file management. Okay, I started the recording. Okay, next chapter is file management. Remember, all of you, there is a quick recall. In the first unit, we discussed about, we can't say unit, the first chapter, we discussed about basics of operating system. What is operating system, where it will be located, what is address space, what is system call, and then processor, about the processor, all the hardwares, processor, hard disk, memory, cache memory, in the types of layers of memory we discussed. These are introduction. The introduction of introduction to operating system, we discuss all this. And then we discuss about the process and the thread management. This is one of the function of operating system. We can say one of the services of the operating system. What is process and thread management? Process and thread management. After that, we discuss about memory management. Okay, memory management is another function of the operating system. Okay, in the memory management only, we discuss about the paging, segmentation, and free space memory management, and what is address space abstraction, and then page replacement algorithms we discussed. Okay, this is memory management. Memory management means main memory management. This is the second service we discussed. Second service is a service of the operating system. Process and thread management, memory management, and now the third service, as a third service of the operating system, we are going to see file management. File is what? Where the file will be stored. File will be stored in the disk. Okay, so we can call this as a disk management also, or we can call this as a file system, the entire file system management. Okay, where you can store the files. No,
You are not hearing.
sorry, not able to hear.
My screen is not shared.
Screen now. This is introduction to file system. Okay, so now the third service is a file system management. In this, how the files are stored, what is file, and what is the file system, what is directory, and there are many methods of file implementation. Okay, methods of file implementation, different structures of file, all this we are going to discuss. Okay, you know, this is very easy when you're comparing with other concepts. No, this is very easy service of the operating system. Okay, so file system management. Okay, why the file system management is required? What is the requirement of the file system? Okay, why the file is required? Computer application, for example, your store, there is a Word application, and even your C programming application. All these will create files. Okay. Those files are stored somewhere. Okay, why it should be stored somewhere? Because later whenever you want, you have to retrieve it. Okay. In the main memory, we will not store the data later to retrieve, because main memory is volatile, you know. Okay. But secondary memory why we are storing the data, more amount of data? Because whenever we want later, we will be able to retrieve, because secondary memory is not, our disk is not, hard disk is not volatile. Okay. Volatile means when power went off, when you turn off the system, whatever saved, everything will not be lost, will not go. Okay, will be retained. Okay, so that is non-volatile. Volatile means everything will be deleted. Okay, Okay. So we need some space to store all these permanent data. Okay. So that is one thing. And another one, when process is running, we cannot store everything in the address space. Okay. We cannot store all the data in address space, because address space, where the address space will be, mostly it will be in main memory. Okay. Or even the virtual memory concepts were there. One half of the address space of the process will be in main memory, another half will go to secondary memory. Okay. So in address space, we cannot store more data because it is volatile, and also it is very less in size, very small in size. Okay. For example, airline reservation system you are developing, or any banking application you are developing, or any corporate record keeping application you are creating. Okay. These are the applications those need very bulk data. What data should be stored? It needs large storage. Okay. So for that we need the file system. What I am starting in file system? What is the significance, requirement of the file system? I am talking about what is the requirement of the file system. Number one, permanently we have to store something, then only later we can retrieve. Number two, during the processing, when the processing happens, more than one number of different processes, more than one different process. Why different processes? Different processes belonging to different application should able to access the common data. Okay. But address space may it is not possible, because one address space is for only one process. One process and its related threads can only access the address space. Okay. Can other process access the address space of any other process? One process can access the address space of any other process? No, it is not possible. But here, one file in file system, one file can be accessed by many applications. Okay. So this is the second reason. Multiple processes can access the same information whenever it required. It is not necessary simultaneously at the time it should access, but whenever it wants, it should be able to access the other the files which I did not create. Okay. So that is possible. Anyone can access any file if authentication is given. Okay. So that is possible in the file system. Okay. So we need to store very large amount of information. That is one thing. Another one, the information must survive even if you terminated the system also, system or process also. The information should be retained, it should survive. That is the second reason. Third reason, multiple processes must be able to access the same information. These are the three reasons we need file system. Why we need file system? Because we have many other memory. No, we have registers, we have cache memory, we have main memory. When all these are there, what is the need of the file system? Disk separately. Because these three are extra features we require. One is we want to load large amount of data, like I said, corporate applications, data center of the big corporates. We need what? Big storage. So we need a disk, file system. Disk is here. I will not mention disk. I will mention file system. Okay, file system is nothing but a disk. Okay, where the file system will be, it will be in disk. Okay, so large amount of data we have to store, and those data should survive longer period of time, and multiple processes will be able to access any information. These are the three reasons we need a file system. Noted, everybody? This I am going according to your this one, your textbook. Okay, you can refer in your textbook. And then What is exactly file? File is a logical unit of information. Logical unit of information. The files will be created by process only. Think. File will be created by process. Why I'm saying this? Because if you want to create any file, system call should be created. System call. Okay. This is who will create system call. One process should be created. That process should create a system call. No. So if you think properly, the file system will be created by process. The human can enable, human can create process, but anyway, the process only can create what? The file system. Okay. So files are logical units of information created by processes. Okay. Why logical units? Because they are the tracks and the sector data are related data. Okay, we saw about the cylinder. You remember how the data will be stored? We usually think that okay, first track may first data and the continuation of the first data will be in second track and the continuation of that will go to third track. No, in cylindrically it will be loaded. Okay, in all the disk one sector will be taken. For example, sector number 1. Okay, sector number 1 of the first disk will have the first content. Sector number 1 of the second disk will have continuation of that. Sector number 1 of the third disk will have continuation of that. The loading will happen like this. Okay. Okay. One process can read the existing files or the process can create a new file. Process can create existing file. Process can use the existing file or the process can create a new file. Okay. When the process will be deleted, when the file will be deleted, when the owner of the file is intentionally deleting a particular file, the file content will disappear. Okay. So explicitly it will be removed from the disk. Okay. What are the operation you can do with the files? There are many operations, but main operations are read and write. You can read the file and you can write on the files. Okay. Who will manage the file system? Our operating system will manage the file system. Okay. What information will we see? We are creating the file, but what we know about the file? We know what is the name of the file. We know what is the extension of the file, because extension of the file will define the content of the file. Okay, if it is a Word file, text will be there. Okay, if it is a video file, the video content will be there. So extension of the file will define the content of the file. Okay, but we know very limited, though we are creating. Now we can't say we, the process. Okay, process enabled by us will create the file system. But we know very limited information about the file system when comparing with the operating system. What we know file name, we know what is the size of the file. Okay, we know what we stored, what we typed inside the file, or what we stored inside the file. Only these information we know. Okay, how inside the disk the file is allocated, that we don't know. Okay, there are many attributes which will be created by the operating system whenever the file is created. For example, when you create the file, the file will not be read-only file. That will be the normal file. Okay. If you want to hide the file, you can hide. If you want to protect the file, you can protect using the password. The file itself has many attributes. For example, the file when it was modified at last, which date and time. Those are called properties or attributes of the file. Okay, all these properties and attributes will be created by operating system. So we can say more than the processes which created the files, the operating system will know more about the file. Okay. We know only physical appearance of the file. Okay. There are many other attributes and properties which are related to file. Okay. So this is about the introduction to file system. Why we want file system? Why we want file system? How the file will be stored? What is file? File is a logical units of information which created by processes. Okay. There are many there are many things which are related to files which are not known by the users or the created process. Okay, these are till now we discussed about the file. Next, how you will name the file. How when you are giving the name of the file, how will you give name of the file? Name of the file can be anything, but there are some restrictions. The file name should not start with a special character. Okay. Sometimes in some of the systems, it will differ the system to system. Windows operating system is different than Linux and DOS operating system. So operating system to operating system, file naming will also change to some extent. Okay. Generally, when we create the file name, for any file it will be, when we create the file name, 1 to 8 letters can be normally the file name. Even you can exceed also the name of the file, but there are some conditions, so you should not start with the special character. Okay. So the extension of in some of the applications, the extent, for example, DOS and all, the extension should be 3, maximum 3 characters only. Okay. So like that, there are some restrictions that will vary operating system to operating system. Okay. That is another one, file naming. When you keep the file name, you have to follow rules. Depending on rules will vary depending on operating system. Okay. Then the content of the file. The content of the file is like which will be said by the extension of the file. What is extension of the file? Actually, when you name the file, there are 2 parts of the file. Students, these are basics. Just to note down, which already you know. Okay. File name will have 2 parts. One is the name of the file. Another one is extension of the file. The name and extension will be separated using dot. Okay. For example, C file you will save in .c extension. PDF file you will save in .pdf extension. Okay, like that file. There are many file extension. The list of extension is given in your book, page number 256. Okay, the file extension can be BAK. Okay, BAK. That is backup file. Okay, .BAK file, .c file, .gif file, .jpg file, HTML file, JPG and GIF files and all image files. Okay, one is pixel based image, another one is vector based image. Okay, HTML is a web application file. Okay, and then many video files. Okay, MPEG files and object files which will have .o extension. Okay, there are many text file may have .txt extension. And there are even document file which will have DOC extension, DOC as extension. Some of the files are compressed files. Okay, the files, if the large file will be compressed and stored to occupy the less memory. Okay, so extension of that file would be tar file or zip file. Okay, so there are many extensions of the file. Okay. This is about the extension of the file. Okay. What we discussed till now.
And basics now about file and to patch नाम होता है और type होता है.
1 second, students, I couldn't hear. What? One second. Yes, students, what you said. Can you hear me better than before now? Or it is like before only? Students?
Ma'am, you are audible. पहले भी सुना जाएगा.
But because now I put fan, no, so whatever you are saying, I couldn't hear. Okay, so I thought, okay, for you also it would be like that, but not. Okay. So till now, what we saw about the file, 1 second, I'll share the screen. Can you see the screen? Okay. Okay, we discuss about what is the use of the file, what is the need of the file first. There are 3 reasons we saw. And then we discuss about the naming of the file. When we discuss about naming of the file, we discuss the name of the file. The condition to give the name of the file will vary operating system to operating system. Even giving the extension may also vary. And generally, what are the extensions would be there? File extension would be there in the file. Okay. All this, the very basic things we discussed. And then the next is file structure. File structure can be 3 types. There are 3 kinds of files. One file will be, this is depending on how the data stored in the file. Okay, how the we can say how the data stored in the disk. Okay, one is called byte sequence. Byte sequence. Another one record sequence. The third one is tree structure. Byte sequence, record sequence, tree structure. Okay. In the byte sequence is an unstructured way to store the data bytes in the file. Okay. But the byte structure only now commonly used by all the operating system. Unix, Windows, both commonly use this file system, this file structure only. What is that? Byte sequence. Okay. Here bytes are unstructured sequence. That means there is no contiguous bytes of allocation here. Okay. One byte of data will be there in one location. Another byte of data will be there in another location. So operating system here, operating system does not know, or we can say it will not care what is the content of the file. Okay. It will see only the attributes and properties of the file. We will see what are the attributes. Okay. One attribute is, for example, the file is protected or not. The file created date is one attribute. The file last modified date will be another attribute. So operating system will not bother about the, will not bother means it will not maintain any information about the inner content of the file. Okay. It will have only the attributes, the data about the attributes of the file. Okay. So the byte by byte, the data will be accessed. When the file is getting printed also, byte by byte, the data will go to the register. That means the memory location in the respective device, secondary device. Okay. Then we can call a record sequence. Okay. In this model, the sequence of the file is fixed length records. The records are fixed in length. Okay. Each of the record will have its own internal structure. That means content could be different. It is not like all the records should have the same type of content, can differ. Okay. But all the records are in fixed length. Look at here, this diagram. This is one record. This is second record. Record by record, the data will be stored, not byte by byte. Not byte by byte, record by record, the data will be stored. But this record by record data will be stored means if you assume in one record there are more number of bytes. Okay. But all these records are fixed size. This is very old way of storing the data in mainframes computers. Or you remembered initially we used line printers. So those are called the big paper will be inserted. Okay, in office, government office and all, it would be there. Okay, so those when we used those printers, those printers have the data. For example, it will store 128 bytes at a time. It will type in a single line. Okay, so according to that, the record size will be fixed. Okay, then only when this file is getting printed, it will be easily, without any confusion, it will be getting printed. Okay, so there we used this type of file structure. This is the structure of the file. Okay, the records will be fixed in size. Okay, the internal structure of each and every record may vary. Okay. The main idea, the central idea of this file system is the sequence of the records will be easily readable in one. For example, when we are writing, we will write one record. We can read one record. But here, wasting the space will be more. Okay. Suppose the record size is big, the content which you are storing inside the record is very less. Okay. Then the memory will be wasted, but it will not happen in the byte sequence. Okay, byte sequence only nowadays we are using. And we have another structure which is called a tree structure. This tree structure is commonly used in this Ubuntu based system, or even in the mainframe also. In some of the mainframe system, we use the tree structure of record keeping. But here also each and every element of the memory will be record only. Look at here, this is a record. Now here, instead of this, you can assume, see, how you will give the indexing. For example, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Assume this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Okay. When you expand the inner content of 1, you will write 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. Okay. When you expand the inner content of 2, you will expand how you will the key to arrange the records. How will you give? This is whether if it is 2, here it will be 2.1, 2.2, 2.2. If this is 3, this. All these records are derived from this, no? So this will be 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. When you extend, then suppose assume that this is 2.2. Okay, we are expanding this. So when it is 2.2, here when it is coming, this is 2.2.1, 2.2.2, 2.2.3, like that. Then it will be easy. So arranging of the records will be, the sequencing of the record will be like this. The key will be there in every record, and also the content also will be there in the record. For example, students, if you see this as one record, this small space, that here in the diagram they have shown like this because they want to highlight the key. Okay. So here the record content will be loaded. Here the record content will be loaded, and is a key, which I said the key is what? 1. Okay. Instead of and, you can assume 1. Okay. Now here the record content will be there. The key is fox, which is nothing but 2. We assumed that as 2. To easy understanding, we labeled this. The records are labeled 1, 2, 3. Then only when we expand each and every record, we can give the appropriate ordering. Okay, so if this is 1, this is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. If this is 2, this is 2.1, 2.3, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3. If this is 3, this is 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. So like that, it will be extended. Okay. So the number of the space to occupy the key will be increased when the level increased. Please understand what I am saying. This is 1. So only 1 digit is enough. When this is here in the second level, when you come 1.1, so there are more space required to specify the key. Okay. Like that, the internal structure of the file would be. Okay, this is not very important question because this is very simple. How the data will be stored in the form of bytes, in the form of fixed size records, or in the form of varying size records in tree structures. Varying size records in tree structure. Tree structure may each and every record will not be in same size. It will be in different size. Okay. So by following any one of these 3 ways, the files will be stored. Okay. This is one thing about the structure of the file. The structure of the file you can refer in your book itself, which is in page number 255. Tenenbaum, page number 255 mein you can refer. Now, next small topic is file types. Types of file. There are 2 types of files. One is system file. Another one is user file. System file, user file. Now, I said no backup file, PDF file, JPG file. All those are user created files. Okay, so these are one category, user files. Another category will be system created files. You know, during the compilation and during the interpretation, when you compile the program, you must have studied in C programming. Okay, language translators are called compilers, assemblers, and the interpreter. So when those processing are happening, there are many files will be created by the system. Okay, usually you can see these files you in Windows, no, in Windows and all C, inside the C drive, there will be a default directory called Windows. Inside the Windows System 32, inside the System 32, you will see whatever files you are seeing, no, everything will be Windows ka system files. Okay, default path of the system file is C://Windows/system 32. C://Windows/system 32. So inside this only, the operating system by default, it will store all the system files. These are simply 2 different files. Okay. User created files can be generally internally, if you say C, it is Ascii files. Okay. Ascii files. So these Ascii files are what maximum the Ascii files, the number of characters is 128. Okay. So to specify 128 characters, you need 7 bits, binary bits, 7 bits. Okay. So maximum 7 bits are required. So that Ascii files are very that has many flexibility, advantage. Okay. When comparing with binary files, I'm comparing binary files with Ascii files. Okay. Ascii files totally 128 characters. So to represent each and every character, maximum 7 bits are required. Okay, 2 power 7, no. So 7 bits are required. But binary may what? It will be if you open the binary file, no, 01010101 will be seen. It is not readable. It is system readable files. Okay, and it will occupy more space also. Okay. So these are different file types of files. And then we have file attributes. We have file attributes. One second. These are some file attributes. Okay. Protection. Protection means in Unix you will you will study when you create the file. No, you can create with the with the privileges. That means who can access the file. Only owner can access or the group can access. Okay, so like that privilege you can give. Okay, so that is called protection. Who can access the file and which way they can access the file. Who can access the file defines the owner of the file, who created the file. Okay, how, which way they can access is depending on, for example, whether people can only read or read and write or read, write and execute, all are allowed. Okay, so that is in which way they can access the file, which are the privileges have been given. Okay, that is protection. There are many attributes. Password is an attribute. If you set password, password is the attribute of the file. Okay, password needed to access the file is called password attribute. Creator, ID of the person who created the file. Okay, for example, your ID means what? You are logging into your ID. You are logging into one account and you are creating a file. So that will be a ID for the creator. Okay, now in Linux, no, even in DOS also, being as administrator you can execute the files, and being as a user you can execute the files. You can create a new user and you can create your own password, and when you are using the Linux you can log inside the user and that password and you can work. So that is called owner of the file. Owner who created the file is depending on login, being in which login you are doing. So using the login, it will identify the owner. If you log into one particular ID and you created, okay, you will be identified using your login credentials. Okay. Owner, the current owner of the file. This could be the creator of the file, or some privileges could have given by the owner, by the creator. Read-only flag. See, we even in DOS also we changed some files as a read-only files. You remember, by giving the flag -R. Okay, so like that, 0 for read and write and 1 for read-only file. So this read and write, this attribute will be specified using 1 bit. 1 bit. 1 bit means 0 is there in this particular flag, that will denote this file is read and write file. That means this file can be read and it can be written. Okay. If it is 1, no, it is read only file. We can only read the file. Okay. No other privileges. Okay. Hidden files, in the listing, the file will not be there. File will not be visible to the user. Okay. But using the hidden file property, some of the operations are there which will be using that you can make the hidden file visible, or the hidden file will be hidden file only, but you can put it in the list. Okay, so hidden files will not be visible to the normal user. System flag, whether this file is a system file or normal file. I said no, the operating system created files are called system file. Other files, user-defined files, are called normal files. If one particular file is a system file, this particular system flag bit will be 1. Otherwise, for the normal files, it will be 0. Okay. Archive flag. Archive flag means you backed up the content or you did not back up the content. Okay, based on that. Okay, 0 for has been backed up and 1 for need to be backed up. Okay, and Ascii binary file flag. If the file is the Ascii file, then that will be that particular flag bit will be 0. And if it is a binary file, the flag bit will be 1. Random access flag. There are many other attributes. There are, you just remember very few, any of the 6 important attributes. For example, protection, password, owner, read only, hidden, system, archive, Ascii, even temporary flag, or creation time. This and all, when you right click and go to the properties of the file, you can see when the file is created and what is the extension of the file, name of the file, when last it modified, all those. Time of last access, time of last change. Okay. Accesses, if last time you open, you did not make any change, you just read it and you closed. That is access. Okay. Time of last change, you open and you made change. Okay. In this case, after you made a change, you might have opened many times later, but you would have not made any change. Okay. So then the last change when you made, only that date will be visible. Current size of the file is one attribute. Maximum size, till what the file can grow. What is the maximum space allocated for the file? Okay, so all those are attributes of files. Okay. Then access of the files. Access, how you can access the files. There are 2 types of accessing the files, way of accessing the files: sequential accessing, random accessing. Just to note down, okay? Sequential access, random access. Sequential access matlab what? You can access the records one after another only. Randomly, you cannot select the file. Okay, randomly, you cannot select the file. For example, songs CD. Okay, the songs are preloaded. Okay, there is a fixed sequence for songs, no? Okay, you can fast forward or you can reverse and you can reach to whichever song you want. Okay, but when you sequentially, normally when you play one after another, in which position it is, no, that in that order only it will. Okay, so that is sequential access. Random access means in pen drive you are storing some content, randomly you are picking up any data to access. That is random access. Okay, so these are 2 access which can be done in the file system. And then file operations. This is also important. File operations. These are the file operations. You can create files, you can append files, you can delete files, open, close, read, write, seek, get the attributes, because there are attributes. For example, file size you want to display. So get attributes. You want to set the attributes. Even you can you can change the file name, you can change the file extension, you can resize the file, then size will be changed. So all those are setting the attributes. You can rename the files. These are very commonly used operations. The operations which will be commonly performed in the file system. Okay. Create means what? You will create a file with no content. Okay, we will create a file with no content. This is very, when we work with command line operating system, no, all these we would have done. In GUI based, we would have not noticed at all. When we create the file, empty file we are creating or content file we are creating, we will not notice. Okay, but in other command line operating systems, you have to do, because in that sequence only you will do. Because now in DOS, how some files, all the file, when you create first, you will create as an empty file only. To put the content inside it, you have to go to another step. No, you have to do more steps. Okay. So creating file is creating empty file without any data. Okay. How it will be created? Some function call will be created. The function call, the file creations function call will create the file. Okay. When it is creating the file, it will create with, we can say creating file is very easy task, but there are many other attributes operating system will create. What? It should allocate memory in the disk to store the file when it is created. Okay. And then it has to fix the attributes. Okay. Whether it is protected, who is the owner, what is the size of the file, what is the content of the file. Size of the file could be anything, but how much content is stored in the file. All these attributes simultaneously operating system should create when the file is created. Okay. Deleting the file, we will just click and delete the file, but deleting the file should release the space which was occupied by the file. In the disk, the file is deleted. After the file deleted, we should release the space. The operating system should release the space so that the disk will get free space to load further other files. Okay. So that task will be done during deleting. Opening the file, why we have to open the file? If you want to read the file, you want to access the file, first you have to open. So more than one number of system call will be created. If you want to read the file, you have to open the file first. So open system call will be first and then read system call. Okay. So before using the file, you have to open the file. Okay. Because why you have to open the file directly? Why can't you read the file? Because when you open the file, there are some attributes which will be fetched to main memory. Then only when you open, after you open the file, you will be able to read the file. Okay. And then closing the file, closing file will not release the disk space. Okay. It will just go out of the main memory. Go out of the main memory, because later you will use, no, so it will not be deleted from the disk, but from the main memory, when it is coming main memory, it would have created some disk addresses, and it would have occupied some stack memory in the main memory. Okay, so all those will be released, but the space in the disk will not be released. When that will be released, when that will be freed. Okay. When you are deleting the file, that time only it will be freed up. Okay. And then read the file. So when you read the file, the data or read from the file, usually the bytes come from the current location. Okay, to read. There will be a pointer. When you read the file, there will be a pointer. When you read the first line, the pointer will be, cursor pointer will be in the first line. And then second line, third line, like that. Pointer is very important when you read the file. Write. Write is like when the pointer is pointing the end of the file, that time only you can write the file. Suppose there is a file in that 4 lines of content. 4 lines of content you typed. Okay. When you come to 5th line, how internally it will know that it has to come to 5th line, new line, because now currently the end of the file is what? The last line, which is a 5th line. Okay. So the point, always the writing will happen in the end of the file. When you can edit, you can go in middle of the file. But when you write continuously, you will write wherever the end of the file cursor is there. Okay. When you write, what will happen? The file size will increase. When you write the content, the file size will increase. Then the pointer of the end of the file will also increment. Okay. It was 5 lines before. Now, when you added one more line, now the end of the file line will not be in 5th position. It will come to 6th line. Okay. So those are extra points which you have to write when you write about the file operations. Append. Append is what? Append is, remember, appending will not edit the file content. Already existing file content, it will not make any editing. Okay. You will add the file content. That is called appending. Next operation, seek. Seek matlab what? Seek means seek is applicable only for random access file. Random access file. Random access file may now assume that currently the position of the read write head is sector number 11. Okay. You want to now access sector number 120. Okay. So before you read the content from the sector number 120, the pointer should move. The read and write head should move to the sector number 120. No, from 7. So that is called seek. Okay, that will be performed using seek operation. Students, please understand. When you randomly access file content, okay, currently you are in 7th sector. Okay, you want to go to sector number 120. Okay, why you are going to 120? Because you want to read the content which is inside the 120. Okay, so for that, before reading, what should be done? The read write head should be moved from sector 7 to 120, right? That is called seek. That will be done during seek. Okay. Get attributes. Process, suppose you want to display what is the name of the file. This we will do in Unix. Okay, process ID we can display. Process size we can display. File size we can display. Whatever we saw list of attributes, no? In that attribute, if we want to print, then get attribute will be used. Okay. Set attributes. Set attributes means we did know in DOS the hidden property. The normal file we changed to hidden file. Normal file we changed to read only file. Read only file we changed to normal file. So this is set attributes. The user can change the attributes. Okay, that is setting the attributes. Setting attributes is not just displaying the attributes. Rename is nothing but the file is existing file. The file is existing file. For this, you have to first call the file. Okay, and actually, how the renaming will happen? No, the file content will be copied in a new file. Okay, and the previous file, old file, no, that will be deleted. Internally, this has happened, but for you, it is not visible. What you will do, you will right click rename. The rename will be happen. Renaming will happen. But internally, what has happened? Renaming, how it is done? New empty file will be created. The file which you want to rename, no, that content will be copied to that. Okay, and the new name what you are giving, no, that will go to newly created file. The old file, no, that will be deleted. All these will happen when you rename the file. When you are renaming the file. Students, could you listen? Are you all listening?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So that is renaming. See, so if I ask explain rename, or I will not ask explain rename, I will ask explain any 2-3 operations of file. Then if you have chosen to explain rename, you should not write the file will be renamed. I will not give marks. You have to write internally what will happen. All these now, the file operations, whatever I explained, no, that is there in page number 262. 262 in Tenenbaum, modern operating system Tenenbaum. You can refer that. It is there, file operations. Now, whatever I said, everything is there in that. You can refer. Next comes directories. Okay. Directories are very simple. What is directories? Directories or path of files. Okay. Directory, if you want to track the file in one position where it is loaded, how will you track? First, you will go to the directory where you stored it, and then from the directory you will go to, if it is inner directory, you will go to inner directory, and then you will go to the file. So directory is nothing but inside the directory. Can you store anything directly without file? No. So directory is not to store the data. File is only to store the data. Okay. Directory, inside the directory, you can store the files. You can store the content in the form of the files or subdirectories. Okay. But without using the files, only using the directories, you can't save any content. You can't store any content. Okay. Jenny. Students, once again. Okay, students, directories can be single level directories. Single level directories will be like this. The square is directory. Okay, there is a root directory. Inside the root directory, there are many circles or files. Okay, directories. Inside the directory, directly files are stored. Okay, this is called a single level directory system containing 4 files. Okay, this was used in initial personal computers. Because those computers are single user systems. Single user files. Sorry, single user directories. Okay. So there will be a default directory which is called the root directory. That will be there in the operating system. Inside that, whatever files you are creating, no, everything will be created under one root directory. What is the disadvantage? If you load more number of files, searching will be very difficult. Okay, in this structure. The next structure is this one. This is what now we are using, which is a hierarchical directory system. In hierarchical directory system, it is very simple. We used root directory. We have root directory. Okay. Every operating system will have root directory. Okay. In Linux, we will call the directory as a root directory. The default directory is root directory. There is a root directory. Inside that, assume that there are 3 users. So user A created one directory, D created one directory, user C created his own directory. Okay. User A stored only one file. User B created in the B directory B, he created 2 more inner directories and also one file. And inside the inner B directory, the user B created one file. Okay. Then this is what? C is a user directory. Within that, another directory, inner directory. And in that same level, there is a file also. Okay. Inside the C directory, we created another 2 subdirectories, and at last we are storing some files in it. So these are files, these are all the C or files. These 2 C's are directories, and in the previous level, 1 directory, 1 file, and this is the user directory. Like this, nowadays we are using hierarchical directories. We are using hierarchical directories. These are very simple. If once you go through now, you can easily write. Okay. Next, path of the. What is path of the? Yes, time is over.
It's 4:15.
Okay. Students, today and tomorrow we have scheduled online lectures only because today actually rooms were there, but tomorrow no rooms. Rooms are not available. Today and tomorrow we decided to take the mentoring session because when we posted very long before we posted the mentor and mentees list, you remember? Sudha ma'am posted. So that time we must have taken, but all the FI teachers were seeing your schedule every day. You are completely occupied. So we did not get any time to take your mentoring session. Okay. So we could not take the deadline to conduct the mentoring is extended. It is actually exceeded, and then we got extension. So now, however, we have to complete your mentoring and we have to send the report. Okay. So no way, 2 days, 2 days, first half we have taken to conduct the mentoring session. Okay. So when we are conducting the mentoring in online, we cannot keep the offline lecture on the same day. Okay. So these 2 days we have kept the online lectures. Tomorrow also online. Okay, because the first half will be to take the mentoring session. Mentoring one by one we have to the students and we have to mentor. Okay, so it is not like group. You can what all the students will join at once and we will complete the mentoring session. It will take time. Okay, so that we scheduled these 2 days. But today, tomorrow, actually, I said to sir, I informed to sir NSM lectures about the NSM lecture, but he said that he will take the Monday onwards, next Monday onwards, offline lectures he will take. Okay, not only NSM, all the subjects. Okay. Okay, now why this is the reason we kept the online lectures these 2 days. Okay. Okay, students, you all can leave. Thank you. Anything you want to ask, you can ask.
Ma'am, there is
Or you can
NSM lecture tomorrow.
Sorry?
Is there NSM lecture tomorrow or NSM practicals?
Tomorrow NSM lecture.
And
Tomorrow
today
NSM
also.
lecture. Yes?
Ma'am, after this we have lecture NSM.
Today you are asking.
Yes, ma'am. Today and tomorrow.
Today and tomorrow you have NSM lectures. Okay. Now after this you will have NSM lecture. That is what the schedule, no?
Yes, ma'am. After this, we have NSM lecture.
Today when your lecture started, 12 o'clock.
In morning?
Students, mentoring is just 5 minutes for you. One student, the speech is 5 minutes. Okay. So the morning you were free. Morning both the days, today and tomorrow. Tomorrow you will be free only, morning. Okay. Morning, actually we thought of keeping 12 o'clock, but MP lectures at 11 o'clock. Okay, so morning we did not keep any lectures. So you can just attend the MP, so you can just attend the mentoring session and then you can study. Because for you, you are not going to get the study holiday. It is very difficult to give the study holiday. But of course, maximum we try few days. We will give, but more days you will not get. Okay. So now in between, whenever you have time, and your schedule also very tight, morning to evening every day. So, if you are going, the days are going like this, then you will not study anything. Okay. So whenever you are having thought a time, then you have to study. Okay. So today, tomorrow morning, you have to utilize very properly. You have to study. You should not waste. Why I'm saying this? Later, you will not get any time. Whole day the lecture will be there, and then also offline lecture. You have to come there, and traveling will take time, and then you will not get time to study separately. Okay, so seriously, you have to study and put a proper timetable and go accordingly. Okay, after the lecture, you go take rest at least 1 hour and then you have to sit. Then only you can complete. Okay. Okay, students, you can leave because then 4:30 this next lecture will start. No? You can leave. You can.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye. Bye.